always there.
Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, sex workers and LGBTQI plus political party on the cards. AR vows to lock down ShopRite Checkers stores. Residents discouraged from crossing flood waters. And newly appointed Namibian Volleyball Federation SG looks to strengthen structures.
Local human rights activist Nicodemus Alkhamub, well known as Mama Africa, is looking into starting a political party for the marginalized groups such as sex workers and the LGBTQI plus communities who say they have been excluded in decision-making matters. The idea to start a political party, Mama Africa says, was the lack of human rights transformation over the 30 years the country has been independent, which has excluded marginalized groups such as sex workers and the LGBTQI plus communities. Mama Africa, who is also the executive director of the Sex Workers' Rights Not Rescue Trust, further clarified that the party is an all-Namibian party, further stressing the need for the revision of the Namibian constitution.
But you know how the politics are run in this country. It's not friendly for people like us and the others as well. Because if it comes to unemployment, if it comes to fundamental human rights and freedom for all, it's really not for all. Some of us has been labeled by so-called politicians, and actually that burden is also still with because of the hate speeches that some of the politicians has made in the past. Actually, according to that, people are also discriminate against us in this country as well. So we don't feel really free also in this country. And we have coming up with, actually the movement was already there. So we just make the movement more stronger to really having a political party that needs to be launched in this year as well, so that we can also sitting in the Ockers house and voice for ourselves, because there is no one that is voicing for us in the Ockers house. Because if we are talking about fundamental human rights and freedom for marginalized people, then especially also for sex workers or for LGBTI plus Q people, then the politicians always saying that our rights are sensitive. So I'm still wondering if the Namibian constitution is really giving us full fundamental human rights and freedom. How should our human rights being sensitive for the others? Because we want to also enjoying the same fundamental human rights and freedom for all in this country. It is not the party of the gay people or the sex workers. This party belongs to all Namibians, those that is feeling or thinking they have been left behind, because many of us has been left behind in this country. So we want to voice together with them as well, so that we want to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Director of the RAM Gender Diversity Movement Trust, which advocates for the lesbian, bisexual and transgender people in the country, notes that the proposed political party for the marginalized groups will address the underrepresentation of sex workers and the LGBTQI plus communities in Parliament and begin a conversation on the discrimination and stigmatization of these groups that the country's leaders have been mum about over the years.
It would be part and parcel of the legislators in Parliament. Probably we're going to speak about the issue on the human rights issues, because they are not been spoken out. And then you find some leaders, they're talking about human rights. But they are not speaking about, especially when it's coming to the LGBTI and sex workers' rights. They are only talking about the human rights for women and what about for gay people, what about for sex workers, what about for transgender people. All those people we feel left out. Just where we're saying, when we go to parliament or when this political come in the card, it's going to be a political home for everyone. For those ones, they feel that they left out and so on, definitely we will able to cater for everyone, and then we speak the issues that facing our community. So just where we have to decide that we must get involved to make things happen. Otherwise, it's now 30 years, and then there's nothing yet. One of the single parliamentarians stood up and talked about the legalization of gay marriage and all type of things. Look at South Africa. Our people, they need to travel outside to get married and then come back. We want those issues to be spoken now, because enough is enough and the time is now. Just where we said that come 2024, they will see our faces on those ballot papers. And then that's where we're going to go in the, we started already lobbying and then mobilizing our people and our community to make sure that this political party is supported by all Namibians and those ones that feel left out.
The party is still in its early stages and will soon be launched to the members of the public. Both Hamutenya Jeremiah and Mama Africa are encouraging marginalized communities to join the party and help break boundaries that exclude them.
Enjoy these fantastic mid-month savings only at Clicks until 20 January. Buy Clicks 2-ply toilet paper 18 rolls, $89.99 per pack. Or buy Organics 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner 2 for $104. Buy Sunlight Summer Sensations Auto 2-in-1 washing powder 2 kgs. Or Laundry Liquid 1,5 litres 2 for $88. Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
The affirmative repositioning movement has vowed to lock down Shoprite Checkers stores in the capital on Thursday, the 14th of January. This comes after deliberation between the management and the Namibian Food Allied Workers Union regarding decent salaries for employees proved futile. Shoprite Checkers employees are striking nationwide for decent salaries, as they claim they only earn about 300 Namibian dollars per week, or up to 1,800 per month. The affirmative repositioning movement has joined forces with NAFAO, the union representing the striking workers, saying they will end the capitalist mentality of business owners and give back the dignity to the Namibian workers who suffer at the hands of their employers.
So what we are saying is that Shoprite has an opportunity to, in this coming 2 days, to engage the NAFAO leadership, because they are the ones with the bargaining power, and say, how best do we meet one another? Whether they are agreeing to the first option that they have or the second option, whether it's somebody who has worked for a year to become permanent, or somebody who has worked for over 3 years to be permanent, because it's unacceptable. How do you work for 10 years and you don't have a permanent security of employment? So some of these things that we are saying is that we are going to disturb capital where it hurts most. Capital has no regard for humanity. It is profit before people. Thursday, we are reversing that thing. It must be people before capital. We are not only looking it on Thursday and we are leaving. We understand these curfew things. We come back again at 4 in the morning. Our message to Shoprite employees who believe that they are from the Christian family like myself, and believe in traditional rituals and African spirituality, and those ones that believe that we are carried in different upper cross. The message to you from us is that stay home. The message to us, to you, and I repeat, is stay home. Because on Thursday, it is about those that want salary increment. It is about those who want a better life for their families. It's about those that want to improve their quality of life. If you are comfortable and you are happy with the 1,200, it is okay, stay home. When the shop is open, you can go back to work. But from Thursday, we are locking ShopRite if they are not coming to the party until they have decided to come to the party and agree with NAFA on reasonable grounds that our people can be assisted. Thank you.
Meanwhile, employees in Rundu and Walvis Bay employed at the retail giant followed suit and handed over petitions to the town's councillors.
Employment went on strike, followed the wage negotiation deadlock between AFAO and ShopRite in September 2020. Employee demand as follows: salary increasement of 600, transport allowance of 500, or the company to provide transport to take employee from work to home. Housing allowance 450, minimum wage of entry level, anyone who is going to start work in ShopRite or either in Checkers to start with 2,500 Namibian dollar. Temporary employee, those who complete 12 months to be appointed permanent. So this is the information that we brought. We hope that the information is clear.
Thank you, sir. We accept the letter and we will definitely forward it to the relevant party. And as soon as we have some feedback, we can return to AFAO and to the employees of our shop and Checkers and USAID. So for now, we can only accept this and we can just forward it to the relevant parties.
The AR and the union further urged Namibians to come out in numbers come Thursday morning as they plan on putting padlocks on the doors of ShopRite Checkers in Independence Avenue, Marua Mall and Katutura, just to mention but a few.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
With the heavy rains causing flash floods that present unsafe roads and driving conditions, road users are advised to take note of information signs that indicate flood levels at crossings and bridges. The city's Disaster Risk Management Division said when approaching a flooded area or a low water bridge, motorists should not attempt to cross if the water is flowing strong, but to take into consideration the information from the sign to determine whether it is safe to do so. As for pedestrians, they are advised to always take alternative routes even if the water appears to be shallow, as it can sweep you off your feet.
This is one of the oldest signs that we have in the city of Windhoek. One of the most ignored, most misunderstood signs that we have. But the purpose of this sign is actually to serve the flowing of water in the river. Now, one of the reasons why we have this sign is usually put at places where cars are allowed to cross, but then also when it's just safe to do so. Now what I'm going to try to explain today is what these numbers represent. And you see it's in red, it means that it's above your car, you are not allowed to cross, and that is mainly for sedan and small bakkies. At 600 here, what I'm saying is that the 600 starts here and up. Meaning that from here upwards, it's safe for your car if this is the height of your car. But anything beyond that, you cannot, because if you see any part of this is covered, all the small cars, there's a sedan, a 4x4. If this whole part is covered, it is not safe for you.
Informal settlement residents are the most affected by the heavy rains, as some reside in low-lying areas near channels and riverbeds. Kolombe, who is the head of the Public Information, Education and Relations at the division, said the inhabitants have come up with ways to divert the flow of water and remain safe.
As you can see here, this community, specifically community, used tires to divert the water from flowing into their houses. Now, it's a great initiative in the sense that the community have taken their own initiative to prevent the water from flowing in the house. It's an informal settlement, but it's a good lesson learned that we can implement elsewhere, even in formal houses and so on. Now, we speak about indigenous knowledge. What we are saying, therefore, is that the community have assessed the flow of the water. They have assessed the risk that they are likely to face if the river is to flow, and decided that the best way for them is to use these tires. And these tires are readily available because you don't have to buy them.
The city urges residents not to take risks by attempting to move stalled vehicles, but to move to higher ground for safety.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
The Namibian Volleyball Federation recently appointed Donald Doiseb as their new Secretary General. Doiseb is a former international, having represented the country at several competitions. In an interview with Today on One Sports Desk, the newly appointed SG highlighted his short and long-term goals for the Namibian Volleyball Federation. In an exclusive interview with Donald Doiseb, the newly appointed Secretary General of the Namibian Volleyball Federation, Doiseb expressed his excitement after his recent appointment at the federation. He further described the federation as improving in terms of structure.
Volleyball at this moment, if I have to describe it to you, there is more structure to it. And obviously this structure is also attributed to the fact that a lot of the predecessors, in terms of the executive, in terms of the people that really made sure that this establishment continues through all the presidents that were there previously, really ensured that there was some sort of common goal in terms of transforming this game into a proper structure that would only not only address the commerce, because previously volleyball was predominantly played in the central part of Namibia, which was quite unfair for those who also wanted to participate, and obviously also from a exposure point of view. So I'm quite excited. There's no doubt that I'm passionate about the game. I understand the game. I'm a qualified coach as well, an administrator as well. So it is for me to really come in and share my expertise and to really take the game to the next level for every Namibian child. In terms of development, the regional structures and associations are really there to support us in that regard. And we are looking obviously at volunteers. We are also looking at capacity development and technical development in the regions to basically speak to that development. But development does not only mean the player. Development also means the administrators, because who are the guys that are going to book the venues? They are going to make sure that the fixtures are drawn up. So that's a very critical component, and that is what the strategic plan is currently speaking to. So in the development of the sport, yes, there are programs to develop kids from grassroots, but we're also looking at development from an administrative and governance perspective.
Moreover, Doiseb highlighted his short, medium and long-term objectives as his tenure of being a Secretary General commences at the Namibian Volleyball Federation.
In the short term, really coming into this position, into the Federation with my colleagues, the executive as well as the Board of Administrators, we are really looking at governance issues. We are looking at transparency. We are really looking at strengthening the capacity and capacity development. So my key interest from coming into this position is to really strengthen the structures and for us to really establish standard operating procedures that are aligned to the strategic vision of the Namibian Volleyball Federation. If our structures are in place and there is transparency and there is quality of the game, and we can prove that, I think that's a perfect environment to draw sponsors. And once the sponsors are on board, we can then basically start to fund activities that would support this strategic vision. So that is my medium to long, and obviously also reach out to our brothers through the regional associations in the neighboring countries in the Zone 6, where we can really see how we can learn from each other, and obviously also other international players that we can sign up international partnerships with so that we can learn from them.
The SG is hoping for stakeholders to maximize participation in sports by assisting the sport fraternity at large.
When you're saying things that degrade women, for me, number one, I am not there, because that is basically what I don't believe in. I don't stand for things that degrade women.
What do you think we can add? What do we put in the basket? First of all, let's put Blossom back in the basket.
Look at the person like it, man. Let's do a song.
Let's do something.
Just
let's
like
collaborate.
Let's collaborate.
The Africans were claiming us.
Yes, exactly. To the rest of the world, they belong to us. Namibia, Baba, Namibia.
I'll help you carry on.
Creating music and putting some stuff out for the people who've been supporting me, that's definitely something that's next on my list.
In other leading stories, the affirmative repositioning movement spokesperson Simon Amunime has called the recent land grabbing in Ochimisi's Achterland a political ploy by the ruling party to sabotage the newly elected leadership at the city of Windhoek. Over 2,000 people flocked to the open space in Ochimisa Achterland to secure a piece of land for themselves, claiming that they are tired of renting. Responding to AR's remarks, SWAPO Party Youth League Secretary Ephraim Nikongo said that since 2014, a group of people organized by the current mayor of the city of Windhoek, Job Amupanda, have been advocating for illegal land occupation and prevented the law enforcement agencies from carrying out their duties, which is maintaining law and order. In a media statement, Nikongo noted that it is common knowledge that land grabbing led by the AR was taking place at the time the SWAPO party was leading the council, adding that the narrative that the recent land grabbing event is a SWAPO party tactic is premature political wishful thinking. He stressed that the AR-led council should deal with the anarchy they have given birth to and nurtured over the years, and not to try and find a political ghost to place the blame on. Nikongo called the AR the parents of lawlessness and the guardian of anarchy in the country, adding that they have shielded those who they organized to grab land in order to turn the people against the SWAPO party.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. An operation by the Namibian Police Khomas region Friday night revealed transgressions by members of the public, motorists, business owners against the rules and regulations set by government under the current restrictions to combat the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Albertina said the commissioner should take action because they are taking advantage of the fact that they only get warnings. Tatiana said law enforcers have a tough job. Commenters asked why the police is patrolling the streets after 9 p.m. during curfew. Lawyer Boy said, God bless the commissioner. 2 male Zimbabwean nationals aged 45 and 28 were arrested by the Namibian police force at Katima Molilo recently. It is alleged that the suspects who operate a printing shop in the town were found in possession of fake COVID-19 laboratory test results for Pathke in the Namibia Institute of Pathology. Foster was already expecting something like this. Edgar suspects that this could be an inside job. Ronald said this is something big and institutions must know what is going on. Tangeni sided with the suspects, saying that they were only after money and giving people what they wanted. Tuapeni said the local government is too soft. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on TDN1.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Widespread thunder showers will persist in the Otjiwarongo, Khomas, Hartap and Omaheke regions, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot in the northwest and central north with a few showers. Elsewhere partly cloudy and warm to hot with isolated thunder showers but widespread in the Otjiwarongo, Khomas, Hartap and Omaheke regions. The coast partly cloudy and cool to warm with showers over the central and southern coast, and the wind light northwesterly to southwesterly.
talk about the coronavirus outbreak here in Africa. How do you get people to regularly wash their hands when water is scarce? How do you get people to work from home when majority of Africans work in the informal sector?
People are dying and suffering.
More importantly, how do you get a vibrant and dynamic continent to stop in its tracks? Welcome to The Breakdown, BBC Africa's COVID-19 special program, helping you make sense of the crisis.